The harmony, the other one is the efficiency, very individual specific. One is indirect in China, here is a direct. And implicit, explicit, intuitive, rational, everything is totally opposite of a mindset. And the mindset influences a lot how you see things and how you react. So we're gonna kind of cover this kind of a cultural difference in mindset throughout the class, when you talk about the marketing or vendor management, supply chain, this kind of a principle applied in many different areas. So from now to the end of the class, I want you to discuss, what are those differences, how to manage those differences, international business settings. Do you think that because of this group has a really good composition that you can learn from each other? So I wanted to have a more discussion-oriented so that you can share, Chinese students kind of share what a difference when you came here that struck you, and so that you can kind of exchange your ideas. Okay. So the way that I'm going to post the PowerPoint, the kind of full content, you can overview just to scan the PowerPoint. I think it's good to do to understand the whole area. But I think that's kind of too much. It's a scanning is enough, and a PowerPoint, if you have a particular PowerPoint that we do not cover in a class, if you have questions, you can still ask. But what I'm going to do is the separate PowerPoint that are covered in a class. Okay, so it kind of helps you to learn more if you want. Okay. Okay. And I posted a new articles here. This just came out a couple of days ago, and there are a lot of recent information about the China. So that's not a required reading, but if you wanted to know what is the real estate status, what is the competitions, and there is a bunch of good sectors review about the China retailing, so you're welcome to read. Okay, so kind of go over each readings, kind of what it is, and if you're interested in learning more, you can read, but it's not required. But I think you'll enjoy some of the readings. Okay. So what we're gonna do today is in order to understand what's the current status of China, you have to understand the history, what makes that current status of a Chinese retail industry. So Elena already reviewed the political changes and reform stages, but how did that influence the China retail industry along with that timeline? So we're going to briefly review those things and then review current status of China retail industry and have a kind of several discussion on retail format. So I'm going to do a supermarket, hypermarket as an example, and also the case that we're going to do today will tie it to that industry, so I think it's good. And the convenience store and open market today, and department store you can present today if you want.
Oh, well.
Yep, already you prepared, so you can do that. And then we're going to have a discussion on these two cases. So before we start the class, I want you to think about, not as a Chinese students, but a non-Chinese students. What were or current impression about the Chinese retail industry and retail stores before learning about those stuffs? Or, even before you come to the class, what impression you had? So maybe you can write down the few thoughts about the Chinese retail industry, your assumption or impressions. This is a really critical point that a lot of companies, when they enter foreign countries, they come up, they start with certain assumptions. And those assumptions are sometimes wrong, and that costs a lot of money for the company, and it's too late to fix those things, or it's really costly. So I want you to kind of have an exercise what assumption you had before you learning about this China retail industry. It doesn't have to be elaborate, maybe 3 points that you had as kind of impressions about the retail China. You can write down now. So for the Chinese students, maybe you can do the opposites. Before you come to the United States, what are your impression or assumption about the retail industry in the United States? So how that perception got changed? Because you already know a lot. Okay, anyone want to share your thoughts? Samantha?
Oh, okay, I'll go ahead. I thought that in cities there are lots of luxury stores and brands, and then everywhere else it was small local markets and stores, and that it's a big new market because apparently everybody says so. That's about it.
Okay, how about, yeah, Trisha?
It's very focused on local taste. Like, they don't have many international views or tastes. They focus more on satisfying local people than importing new products.
Okay.
That is true, but then again it depends on different cities. Probably Shanghai can have more international products, just because there are a lot of foreigners, Westerners there.
Yeah, Michael?
Smaller, more personal stores where you tend to handpick and bag your products yourself instead of everything being prepackaged.
Yes. Yeah.
I was thinking just a lot of supply chain, big supply chains, where it's kind of how to put everything out.
What, I'm sorry, could you?
So I kind of thought, my initial image that a lot of supply chain, and that kind of should put a lot of products out. So that's what I think.
Okay. Yeah.
One of the things that I thought about before, just in reading and the cliche of seeing movies, would be that there's a lot of fresh and live produce, so you would see stuff walking around and would be dinner.
Yeah. How about Christian? Christian, yeah.
I pictured it being very colorful in the different areas.
Colorful, what? Can you elaborate?
In stores, you see a lot more colors, vibrant colors than over here.
One of the things that going off the colors, I said that I thought there would be a lot of reds and yellows just because not
Yeah.
everybody is colors and flags, but things that over here we associate with the dress well.
Yeah, you guys can tell what the meaning of the red and the meaning of a yellow, which is really important in China, right? So you guys can kind of explain the white, red, and the yellow. So if you see the promotion flyers in China, everything is red and yellow. So, there is a reason. So why don't you guys kind of explain why red is so obsessed with the red, or why red is the... So when you see the red, what kind of associate with the red color?
Because in Chinese culture, reds always stand for like happiness and and lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, lucky money.
Money.
Yeah, it use the red one and yeah.
Yes, the money luck is really important in China. So if in the promotion flyer, you see a lot of money circle kind of coin in the kind of traditional kind of symbols. And all the monies are put in the red envelope because that's also the symbol of China, right?
Yeah, when if we have wedding party, we will use the red invitation card. And
Yeah.
Red means like happiness, lucky, and all the good things.
Yeah, and also in the store, every promotion is red and yellow. So for Americans, it may be not really visually appealing, too much red and yellow, which is very saturated color. But that's kind of a traditional color that the Chinese really associate with. So
in the stock market, we use red means up, and green stand for
down.
Yeah, the opposite here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So those kind of a delicate issue, not knowing the green can be indicating the downside. That'll be the huge mistake to use green a lot in the promotional materials.
Yeah,
Okay.
and in history, the red and the yellow, they together means power. When we come to Beijing, we will see architecture called Zijincheng.
The forbidden.
I don't know what in English. That architecture is in history. It means the power.
Mm-hmm.
And the red and yellow together means the power. And also in China, red means love.
What? Right?
It means love.
Right. Red.
Yeah,
Red is the
means
passion.
love. And the yellow means the garden, the garden.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of people use when we go to a dating for something, then maybe hand some gift be covered by a red color or something to
Mm-hmm.
show the love.
Yes. So it's really important to know the importance of red and yellow, gold yellow, not just not the lime color yellow, but the gold yellow is the.
One more interesting thing. Several days before, I see a lot of Americans drive the green and dress a green hat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really? But in China, actually dress a green hat in China. Sometimes it means that boy, his girlfriend dating with another boy. So he just green
that
hat.
I didn't know.
That's a different thing. So with that, why so many people?
So green hat. Yeah.
Green hat. Somebody will love it.
Oh, good to know. And here you cannot use the rainbow. That's the kind of the same color. The meaning. Yeah, you.
Just be careful to use white in China, because I think lots of area or region like use white means like death.
Death.
Yeah.
It's a funeral. People wear all the white instead of blacks.
And about the rainbow, when I come to America, my package, the color was the rainbow. And I don't know, because in China we didn't think this was something special or different meaning. It's not because I look it beautiful, so I buy it. When I come to America, I got that package. a lot of people look at me. I'm
Yes.
worried. Why? What's wrong with my package?
Okay, so is
Did
it?
anybody tell you why? The rainbow?
After I meet my friend told me
Oh, okay.
there was something.
Yeah. It's good. So, so we can learn a lot in a class. Okay. Okay. Any others who wanted to share? No.
Same stuff.
Same.
I just know I thought they had a lot of money to spend on either upcoming market in general, because the generations are changing, just things are changing over there. But I knew there was a lot of differences because I've heard at least from working with U.S. companies and Chinese companies, there's a lot of like discrepancy in how they do business, and it's just a different mindset. So I knew that coming in, but I didn't know differences exactly.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that we can kind of talk about the different mindset. And so if you're looking at the Hofstede, cultural dimension, that is comparing more than 70 countries. And using the way that they came up with the index for that cultural dimension was because as you mentioned that different region, different people, different background have a different values. So what they did is choose the one same company in the same industry who shared a lot of values together. So even that, so they chose IBM because IBM was the most globalized company in 1970s, and they updated the survey to get the index. And so you assume that if you work in the same company, work values are kind of the same, but still shows a tremendous difference, especially between US and China. If you look at the long-term orientation, China is the highest, 118 in terms of index, and US is a pretty low, short-term oriented. So, and a lot of countries are very much long-term oriented compared to the US. So you don't get patient until, so you enter China, you wanted to see profit coming out of 2 years, which never gonna be happening. So you have to kind of take a long-term orientation if you have to work in China. So think about that. I think those kind of values we can find a lot. For instance, the football here, it's a very short-term oriented. Not only the quarter, you count the time once you throw the ball until they catch the ball. Very short-term oriented. And think about the other sports that other countries like in the long-term countries like Brazil and Europe and soccer. Soccer has never been popular in the United States, and it's too long for the one half and the other half. And once you kick the ball, the game doesn't start until the end of the first half. So think about those preferences. Also, I think reflect the really important cultural value. And so even though we don't think that is kind of too much, but that influences a lot how you see the things and solve the problems. So we're going to talk more those kind of a comparison between two. So Elena Fresh already talked a lot about the huge difference between before reform and after reform. Okay. So I don't think I don't need to repeat, but major difference is the state-owned and the turn to the more private foreign ownerships got increased tremendously after that. And before that, distribution is always controlled by the government. So any importing from the other countries are strictly controlled by the government. So department stores who first retail type that import the foreign goods are the department store. Their distribution is strictly controlled by government. So they turned all the department stores are more likely the state-owned department store. So Shanghai #1 department store, Balian Group has a department store. It's owned by the government. So you have to look at this as, what's the role of the government throughout the history. Okay. So we all know that China is a huge in terms of market potentials, not because of the current size of retail market, but because the growth rate, coupled by the number of people, population. So population is 1.3 trillion, right? No, not a trillion, billion. So if you spend $1, each person, it is $1.3 billion. So that's huge. But if you look at the growth rate, and so this line is the growth rate. So last year, from the 2009 to 10, 30% increase. And here, 30% increase retail sale, which is huge. So what would be the growth rate of U.S. retail sales? Yes. Small. What percent?
Maybe negative, I don't know.
Yeah. Good, good. You already know a lot. So if you're looking at this U.S. Growth rate is never been higher than 10%. And you know that 2007 and 2009 was a negative and recovered, but still it's less than 5-6% always. So that's why China is attracting a lot of attention from the foreign markets, foreign countries. Okay. So currently China is not state-owned or government-controlled, so it changes a lot from the single stores. Now they have a chain stores, and it become regional to the national, which even though it's very challenging to do it, and expanded to the west inland. And already companies are going to second, third tiers because competition is intense, and China is already mature market. So that's why a lot of companies are having difficulties. And it started as joint venture because that's regulated by the government, but now wholly owned ownerships really spur the retail expansion. And market concentration is increased, which means that larger companies control majority of a market share. So currently, China, I think, is about 100. Usually, we compare 100 retailers, how much they account for the sales, total retail sales, and China is about 10-11% compared to U.S. What percent will be the U.S. percent? Like 40%. So China is still growing, but it's competition-wise, it'll be less intense than compared to the U.S., but it'll be moving that direction, the more concentration. So currently it's 11%, but it'll be increased tremendously next few years. Okay. So if you're looking at the entry strategy of foreign retailers, kind of it aligned with this development of a retail industry. So 21st century is already mature market. Okay. Let me go to this one. So this is the, how many of you know that this Global Retail Development Index? So it's this consulting company produce kind of evaluate all countries and come up with an index for country that with an attractive market. So China was number 1 in 2010, but now they are already in maturing stage. And 2011, it's already changed. China is no longer number 1 attractive market because of a competition. And Brazil become number 1 country. So expect a lot of competition, consolidation, mergers in China as you see in the United States. Okay, so 1995 is the kind of a takeoff stage, and also the picking on some here, I think 2006 when they wholly owned operation is allowed 2004. So at that time it's already 2000, it's beginning to the mature stage. So in a foreign market, it is important to get there early, but also it's very expensive. So Walmart entered 1996, right? But it took more than 10 years to generate the profit. So, and a lot of Japanese and Hong Kong, Taiwanese company entered China because they have a cultural proximity and also they know everything, but still they decide to come out of the China because they cannot make a profits there. So it's not easy market, even though it's a really attractive market, growing so fast, but it's not. So I want you to think about those competitions. So this is the liberalization of foreign entry schedules. Okay. So if you discuss the Walmart Carrefour case, entry strategy, the reason that they choose a particular strategy is because of these policies. So we can discuss this one later. Okay. So this 1995, when the restriction got loosed, that's when the Carrefour entered the China. And that time, the government allowed only 1 or 2 stores in a city, major cities. And the Carrefour was the first one to make a deal with the government through the joint ventures. So we can talk about later. So you can review this area. And the earlier is an important fact is the retailing is the prohibited, wholesaling was prohibited. And then the certain cities are allowed to have some commercial activities as an experimental stage, and then they see the value and create the economic zones for mainly exporting the manufactured products. So this area, Shenzhen, and this 5 economic zone is for manufacturing the product by importing the raw materials and the produce there, but they are not allowed to sell any domestic, produced goods in China, but we export to the other countries. So that case, China, become building the manufacturing facilities. So, and a lot of U.S. company, foreign company enter this area to, sourcing purposes. So Shenzhen area is particularly very much manufacturing intense area. So we're going to visit Shenzhen to see those things. And each city have 1 or 2 foreign retailers. And only the joint venture is allowed with a 51% ownership by domestic partners. So that majority of decision makings are depend on the Chinese company. But wholesaling was not allowed. Okay. Okay. So now things are changed. So market share by 100 retailers is about 11%. And foreign retailers sales increase each year 20%, and number of stores also increased to about 16%. Okay, so this kind of shows that competition is really getting high as this market concentration is high. But still growth rate is a little bit going down, which means the competitions. So this is the 2010 top 100 China retail chains, the Suning is the #1 in terms of retail sales. So we're going to visit the Suning. But in the newspaper magazines, all mention about that they still do not make a substantial profit, even though it's the #1. So with the case Best Buy, and also by seeing the Suning and visiting the 360 Buy, which is kind of emerging the e-commerce company in the consumer electronics, you're going to see why that's the fact. Gome is the #2. Also the electronic companies. That's why Best Buy entered China was not successful. Competition is so intense. So we're going to talk more about the Best Buy later. Balian Group has not only the department store, they have a supermarket, they have a convenience store and home improvement market, but it is the government state-owned companies. So they wanted to compete against Walmart, Carrefour in the hypermarket, so they'll be playing the huge role in the future. And so this Balian Group has the Linhua. Is it pronounced right? I mean the supermarket. Okay. Hualian. And Ultimart is the Taiwanese company that's growing so fast, and it's the #6. And Carrefour is the #7, and Walmart is the #9. So, okay. And sales increased mainly now in this second tier, third tier. Okay, I think that's kind of a current status. Do you have any questions before I move to the next topic? Okay. However, all the information in China is really, here is really easy to get the validated, reliable information like a sales figure. But China, it is not the case. So even though sales figure shows, ranking by the sales, but it maybe it's not reality. So we're going to kind of cover that issues, the validity of information. Information is most important to make a marketing decision. But sometimes the information that are provided by the government and the official organizations are not really accurate. So for instance, your receipts and what you're paying are not the same. Here is the same. So every penny you pay is in the record. But we learned, through this project, I learned that your receipt is not what you pay, right? In some cases. So like a gourmet electronic stores, and there are a lot of negotiations in a bargain and at the store. So, like companies, buy something, and they do not want to itemize the receipt. They want to have a whole one price receipt so that they have some flexibility reporting later on. So, and that is the one thing. And also sometimes they do the discount but are not showing in the receipt so that you can take some advantages when they're reporting to the company. So because of these discrepancies and the sales information is not accurate. So when the Nielsen do the market research to accurately capture the market share, they cannot rely on the sales record. So they had to send the people to each store count the merchandise to figure out the inventory level, and then figure it out the sales in each store. So information is a challenge in a validity or accuracy of information is a challenge. Do you have any questions? What do you think about how to get the good reliable data in China? You guys have any idea?
Just like you said, when last year I back to China, and when we have dinner in the restaurant, when we ask for check, and they will ask us, "You need a receipt? If you do not ask a receipt, I can give you a discount." Something like that, or maybe I will give you the dessert, like that. So it's really difficult. It's not good for the government because government will lose the tax.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to
Yeah.
correct the information or something like that. So it's really hard to.
Another thing is the government state-owned organizations have gift cards. So what it is instead of paying your bonus in cash, they give gift cards to their employees. So they buy supermarket gift cards a lot, which is also they have deals with the supermarket owners, managers. So you don't know exactly how much you paid and how much it actually cost. So that is distributed to the employees as kind of during the holidays and at the end of a year, something like that. That I don't think count tracked accurately that amount. So when you do the market research, just aware, the validity of information. Okay, so I found that some Chinese students are not really understand the different types of a store format because I think things are different between US and China. So that's why. So I think that everybody understands that this kind of a categorization of this retail format. You guys, any questions? Like a food retail, not general merchandise retailers. So discount stores. What kind of a stores will belong to discount store in the United States? No, Sam's are more clubhouse. Yeah, club store. So it's not discount store.
The dollar store.
Yeah, dollar store. Walmart is considered as a discount stores, not the the discount stores, and Kmart's discount stores, and in terms of categories, and Target considered as a discount stores in the general merchandise. But if you think about those stores are located in the standalone kind of shopping centers, compared to department stores are located in the anchor store in the mall. So if you're looking at the JCPenney, even though it doesn't look really prestigious department store, they are department store. Sears are department stores, and Macy's are department store. And
considered department store?
Kohl's. Yeah, I think Kohl's are considered as a department store. But if you go to the New York and the Bloomingdale or Saks Fifth Avenue, those are the department store that most people can think as a department store. But still, format between the US and China is totally different. And so a lot of department store in China follow the Japanese model, which is the 10 stories of a department store, which include one floor is the food restaurant, whole section, and gallery, movie, and so it's quite different. The usually bottom floor, basement is the food, like the supermarket type of stores, as well as some prepared food stores. So it's quite different between US and China. You're gonna present today, so I'm not gonna go details. Okay, so supermarket are and the hypermarket is what the Walmart's are operating, and supermarket, super centers and hyper centers, and so we're gonna cover that one. way they categorize this store type is the how many SKU, which is the stock keeping unit, and whether you carry variety of merchandise or in a wide or depth. So that kind of determine whether you are a specialty store or general merchandise stores. Okay, so I think this is a pretty much self-explanatory, right? Okay, so let me go to the China part. So size of a different retail format in China, and hypermarket is growing a lot. I think of most fast growing part, hypermarkets, followed by convenience store and supermarket. And department store is also the pretty good business model compared to the US. And there is a difference between US and China is how they buy the merchandise, who own the merchandise titles. You're going to talk about it, right? A little bit?
I can mention it.
Yeah. Okay. But home electronics growth rate is low and the competition is intense. And drugstore is really taking off. So if you're looking at the profitability of these types, sales, department store, in terms of sales per employee is high because that business model is healthy in China, so that's why. But if you're looking at the hypermarket, it's low, which means the competition is really intense in terms of a profit generation. Okay, so this is the kind of a format that are very different between US and China. Convenience grocery stores. So if you go to the Kangaroo gas station, you have a store. What is it called, the Kangaroo?
I know in the South call it a Jiffy, but
yeah,
like a convenience store and gas stations.
I think the BP has a name, Daily, or anyway, the convenience stores that carry the,
Yeah, that's a relatively new thing though that they've started to do. Is kind of expand
Yeah.
for a little bit more.
because its a profit margin is much higher than selling the gas. So we're going to talk about this convenience stores, and also the conventional grocery store in China is quite different from the supermarket here. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. And department store will be presented by Ray and Samantha. And open markets are very unique in China. Wholesale market, I don't think you haven't seen the wholesale market in the United States. So have you been in New York that one whole district sells accessories? Yeah. That's kind of a wholesale market that open to the buyers as well as the customer, the individual shoppers. And United States, we have a lot of wholesale market but they are not open to the publics. For instance, home furnishing has a wholesale market that only open several times a year. So buyers come and order things. And Atlanta and Dallas has a swimming wear, menswear, New York. And so, there are a bunch of wholesale market, but we are not exposed to those kind of area. But in China, I think there are a lot of wholesale markets. And specialty store, electronics, we're going to cover by case study. And home improvement markets, also the case studies, which I picked those things because they are drastically different between two countries. So this is your industry presentation, just in case you do not know the date and the partner. So I think it's a good time to introduce to each other. So specialty fashion retailing. Adrak, Andrick. And with Feng Zhang. Okay. E-commerce, Yinging and Mary. Department store, already you guys met. Food franchise, Chen Chen, and so you guys meet, okay? Automobiles, yeah, and you guys know already. And shoes manufacturing, Patricia, and yes, good. So because the department store, I put, what, do you have a question? No. So because the Samantha and the Wei will present today, the shoes manufacturing retail group will be presenting April 5th. Is that okay? That is.
April 5th?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a Thursday?
I don't know.
Yes, it's a Thursday, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a, or if it's too much, and the 17th is fine. I just.
No. Oh, that's cool.
5th is okay? April 5th? Let me know. Okay. Okay. So conventional grocery stores, I think it's a better with the pictures. It's a quite different. It's a kind of a, here we call mom and pop store, but also very different that main items are cigarettes. And why don't you guys explain what they sell?
I think these convenience grocery stores are very popular in the second and third tier cities.
Mm-hmm.
Not very popular in the fourth tier cities. It's very small. It's just like a private store,
Mm-hmm.
and there are not many things there. Just something basic. Food,
Daily.
some stuff.
Yeah.
Daily.
Yeah, daily, not like the fresh meat or vegetable.
Yeah,
No.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like.
It's more like snacks, right?
Yes. They like candy. Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of this store is attached to the kind of part of their home. So each block, they have this store. So they know everybody in the neighborhood so that if you do not have money, still you can buy and then pay later on. It kind of it's very family oriented.
And it's really convenient.
Convenient.
Because it's just located near your home, so you
Yeah.
can go
Mhm.
to find this thing. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the summary we just covered. Good personal relationships, so they know what you have and what you run out of things. Okay, snack, everyday items you just mentioned. Okay, so we still have some kind of a convenient grocery store, which is a little bit different in the like a small, town. But the China is a majority. If you kind of see the second number of second tier, third tier, fourth tier, that's a lot. So this is a kind of a huge majority in terms of a shape of the market. And supermarket, hypermarket is a majority in the United States, but not in the China yet. But it'll be changing as the economy is developing. Okay. This is a very interesting market, open market that we wanted to go during the study tour, and also the night market in Shanghai and Beijing also will be very interesting. So I'm hoping that Chinese students can be the guide to this kind of a fun night market excursion.
Is that the left corner one is in Hong Kong, right?
Actually, why the way that people look, how do you identify with the Hong Kong? So basically, everything is outside, and And even here, I think it's very interesting. You only sell this green onions 1, 2, 3.
And it's fresh.
It's a
Yeah.
fresh is really important.
Yeah, I mean.
Bargain, yeah. And fresh also means the live sometimes. So even Walmart to sell the live chicken, so that I want this chicken, and they kill.
I have a question. I saw a lot of pictures that the animals are alive, but like, do you take them alive home, or do they kill them like there, and then you take them just like recently dead?
Both of them.
They
have
help
To kill it?
They kill for you.
Like,
I
do
thought
they
it came
pluck
to you
them
in a
and
bag with
not
water
eat
in
them?
That's what we're gonna do over there. We're gonna take it live. Take it home again.
Yeah, or you can raise it.
From the LA, Los Angeles friend, they told me in Los Angeles they also have, because there are lots of Asian and Chinese in Los Angeles, so they have like the live chicken to sell in the market. It's just like the open market in China. So yeah.
But do they kill it like right in front of you, or do they go like back and kill it and then they give?
You have to see whether that's the chicken that you picked. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
always to go to the open market because it's more strong. So I don't know.
Chickens are easy to kill though.
I mean, it's a very interesting. They can look each chicken, live chicken, and pick which one they wanted to buy, right?
Yeah, and sometimes the customer will cut off the chicken's feet, cut one feet and let him, in the restaurant, like the fish or the chicken, they have all have the live one, and they put the chicken or fish in front of the face and say,
this feet is come from this one.
Yeah, does this fish okay? And the customer said, yeah, this one looks good, and cut one part of its body and let them to cook it background. Yeah.
Christina, she was shocked. She was covering the. So this is a good education opportunity. So that's a kind of a different way of eating, and so it's.
Because in my mom's generation, they do not like to go to the Walmart, that kind of the supermarket or convenience market to buy the thing, because they told me they don't think it's like the thing is really good or fresh or whatever, so they want to go to the open market. But I don't know for others, Chinese students, for me, I do not like the open market because I think it's a little bit dirty.
And
because it's wet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's wet and
wet, just the water.
The price in open market is very cheap.
Yeah, because you can bargain, so yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna experience. So you can do the chickens and you can do the fish or over there.
Kind of like our flea markets, except with like animals and food.
No, like I understand that because I'm from Colombia and we have open markets just like that, but we don't have open markets like
For live animals.
Like live animals, no. Like, you can see the cow like hanging of the
Like it's already butchered, basically ready to go.
Yeah, you don't see the skin or anything. You see the cow just with the meat outside because they just recently received it, but then they grab it and they put it away. Like you don't see how they kill it. Like
Yeah. For the Chinese open market, we
Both have a both, right?
yeah, we just like to have the chicken that little animal, not the yeah.
Just the chicken or the fish, not the big one.
Chicken.
Just chicken, fish, and I think something like yeah, it's just the small one.
Especially the fish, because in Chinese food, the fish is very hard to cook. So if we want to eat it delicious, the function to cook it is very important, and the fresh of this food, of this fish is also very important to cook it. So a lot of Chinese people didn't believe that the fish already died. They don't know how long it's already died, so they want to buy the fresh
Yeah,
one.
so we like to eat the fresh food. The freshness is very important in Chinese cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And in my family, my mom are not there to kill the chicken, so he always buy the chicken in the open market and let them to kill them, but not in front of her.
Mm-hmm. So these things kind of emphasizing freshness is the most important. And if you look at the margins of items in a supermarket or a hypermarket, this food and fresh produce items that have very high profit margins. So because that's the kind of a life of a Chinese, they're really looking for the freshness and the deals, and so that's why hypermarket, supermarket is having hard time to generate the profits. So this is the street open market. Sometimes the open market is inside of a building. Okay. It's much nicer with the only vegetable, right? So here.
That's the one in my country.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's many of the pictures that we took from the study tour too. So sauce and okay, department store. You guys wanted to talk?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The presentation may not be as detailed.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about the department store retailing in China. First, let me talk about the business background related to the department store. First, economic. We all know that the China has been the second biggest economics in the world now. So behind this data, we can know that the purchasing power of the consumers in China has been stronger, and so the people will focus more on the upper level of the needs, except for the basic needs about food. So the people in China is more care about the quality and the quality of the clothes, food, and other kind of stuff. Now the urbanization is another thing I want to talk about, because the urbanization in China is much slower than in US. And so nowadays, more and more farmers and other people in the rural rushed into the city area. So behind urbanization, we can know that the population density in cities has been very high, and the most important thing that is among these people, many of them are married young. So that means, let me take an example. If a man if a farmer man, if a rural man goes into the city and he's unmarried, and if he wants to marry a woman, he needs to buy a ring. And if he wants a baby, he needs to buy the baby clothes, baby bed, and other kind of stuff. So all this is the potential of the consumption. And the culture. I don't know the consumer behavior in US, but in China,
people love shopping, especially women. And in leisure times, family like to spend their leisure time in the department store, because the department store in China is a little bit different from the department store in US, because I seldom see the restaurant in the department store like Macy's, but in the department store in China, we always have we can always see the restaurant in the department store, and most of the department store in China have a level is special for the restaurant to settle in. And yeah, the girls like window shopping, of course. The political and the legal, as the professor says, after the reform and the openness, Chinese government set up a lot of economic zones, and in order to boost the local economy, we have a lot of the government made a lot of preferential policies for the foreign investors to doing business in China. Now let's talk about the major players. The first one I want to talk about is the Far Eastern Group, and the main department store in this group is the Pacific Ocean Sogo, and the mainland and the headquarters in mainland is Shanghai. Now it is the two pictures about the Pacific Ocean. The second one is Parkson Group. It is originated from Malaysia, and it is the first foreign funded department store in China. And now it has entered into the 18 provinces and 26 cities.
But the owner of this company was a Chinese, so it was easy to open a store in China and expand aggressively.
Third one is the New World Group, and it comes from Hong Kong, and the headquarters of mainland is Shanghai. The first picture is the New World department store near my university, but actually seldom of my classmates when shopping in this department store, because the goods in these stores is very expensive for us, and we often go to the street opposite it. There is another department store named Chunguang. We would like to go shopping in that store because the goods in that store is much more affordable, and there are a lot of famous restaurants in that store. So we often, if we don't want to eat in the canteen in the university, we would like to go shopping there. Then the Wang Fujing department store is the famous store, and it is the Beijing department store. It has a long history, and it was established in 1955. And the first picture is that store. Intai department store. It is mainly focused on the Zhejiang province, and the first and second picture is the Intai. The first picture is the Intai department store in Wenzhou. Wenzhou is an interesting city because if we talk about Wenzhou, if we heard about a man comes from Wenzhou, the first thing I would like to think about is that he's a rich man. Because the people in Wenzhou is very good at doing business. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to go over some of the key factors for competitive success. And the first three are pretty similar to what you'd see in the U.S. and most countries: price and promotion, location, and brand reputation. Obviously, if your stuff's too expensive, like she said, they're not going to shop there. If it's in a convenient location, people aren't going to go there. And if you have a bad reputation, nobody's going to want to go there. The next ones that are a little more individual to China are relationships and proximity to suppliers. And Dr. Oh, you wanted me to cover?
Yeah. So here, like a Macy, they buy all the merchandise. So they are entitled to the merchandise. But in China and also the other countries, Asian countries, Korea, Japan, it's kind of a consignment system, which means that manufacturers give a merchandise to the department stores, and you only pay for the items that you sell, and then those items that are not sold can return to the manufacturers. So that's the kind of a I don't know whether it's a good system, but it's a safe system for department store because they do not ending up a lot of unsold merchandise, but at the same time, profit margin is low because you do not own the merchandise. And so usually salespeople are provided by manufacturers or branded marketers. So here, in the old times, US also had the same model. It changed it to that current system. So China, maybe there'll be some changes in the future. Maybe, maybe not. But Japan still used this consignment system, and Korea still used consignment system.
So obviously having a good relationship with the suppliers is really important. And then providing a range of payment options. I mean, here in the US, pretty much the printed price is what you pay. There's no question, and there's this method, cash, credit, and check. But in China, it's very important to have some leniency and flexibility in how you pay. I don't know how much that applies to the big department stores in the big cities, but I know in the smaller cities and the smaller stores, it's a big deal.
And also another thing is the installment. So instead of it's kind of a additional price is hidden, but you can divide it into 6 times of a payment or 3 times of payment over the months. I think your country has the same system, and Brazil has the.
By like once you pass your credit card, they ask you by how many quotas. I don't know, like.
Yeah.
And then you can just pay that shirt like in 7 months. But then you have to add interest. So.
Yeah, but the interest is not really visible. So usually they ask whether you want to pay right away or spread out the 6 months or something like that.
And then the last 3 are kind of more strategic, targeting groups with high disposable income. That's the same no matter what country you're in for every retailer. Developing multiple retail channels, moving beyond, for department stores especially, just their basic structure, moving to e-commerce, and trying to include the hypermarkets and supermarkets within. And then an experienced workforce. How they'll change over time. Price and promotion will start to matter less, but they'll still obviously be very important. And convenience and emotional factors will start to matter more, like location, service, reputation, and the relationships with your suppliers will matter more. Basically, everything else will start to matter more because there's going to be so many competitors and everybody's going to be charging similar prices. You need to find other ways to differentiate yourself. The driving forces to increase profitability. The increasing income of the population obviously is very important for the merchandisers. Economies of scale, as the department stores start to group together and become national chains, they'll be able to leverage that to decrease some of their operating costs. The increased use of credit cards, which I don't know how different that is than in-store payment systems. It might be more profitable for the stores to stay with that. The shift towards fashion conscious purchases and away from durability and long term. And then movement into 2nd and 3rd tier cities, because the 1st tier cities, like Dr. O said, are very saturated. And driving forces that might decrease profitability. Obviously, the increased competition, both domestic and foreign, the pressure from specialty stores, and the increase in the shopping mall format. Because a lot of these department stores, like you saw, are individual, standalone, big buildings, so it's really expensive them to move and to anchor a shopping mall, although I've heard a lot of the shopping malls are actually not doing so well in China anymore. And then the high initial cost for new stores. That's it.
Okay, good. So why don't you send the file so that I can post in the Sakai for other students?
Okay.
because the okay, let's kind of review quickly so that we can have a time to discuss the case. Okay, so this is pretty much straightforward. Supermarket is more community-based that represented by the Chashufar supermarkets. Hypermarket is a Walmart Carrefour type of stores. And then as you see from the graph, the increase over the years in terms of proportion-wise, the first, second, third tier is this. This second tier increase is the obvious. But if you're looking at gross sale-wise, third tier is not really creating that much sales, even though the number may be not, number is increasing. And if you're looking at the profit margin, you see that second tier is the best kind of a target system. So first tier is really competitive and so not much growth potential because everybody is in the first tier cities. So when the foreign retailers come, they create the opportunity for the local players to learn. So, so Walmart, and for instance, other retailers called Ahold actually entered the Hong Kong and Taiwan, learned about the Chinese shopping behavior, and entered the Chinese main market in Shanghai first because they know that there is not sophisticated hypermarket at the time. So they thought that they already know about the Chinese. They already know about how to operate. And so there is no market, no company that compete with them. So it was kind of an easy market. So they entered the Shanghai, but it created an opportunity for local players to learn fast and do better than them. So they actually pulled out of the China. So at that time, Linhua and other supermarket chains, as we learn from the Chinese history, Chinese are very entrepreneurial and they're very learning oriented and learn fast. And so in terms of you have to expect that once you enter and you are also creating the competition at the same time. And you have to be prepared how to not only to enter the market, how to defend yourself or how to compete in the market, not just that particular year, but 5 years or that kind of things. Okay, but interesting that we're going to kind of discuss with the Walmart and Carrefour case. So here, United States markets, this is not a sales, it is about the survey that which store you most often shop. So it's kind of called as the share of mind of a customers, but also the younger customers. So it may show that what will be the driving in the future market share of Walmart and Carrefour and other stores in China, because those are the main shoppers of a hypermarket, right? So China, so for young generation, 18 to 34, Walmart is the number 1, Carrefour is the number 2, and this is the Hulian. You said Hualian. Linhua are the, I should learn the Chinese. This is the Balian Group supermarket. They merged together, and so they are the major part. And Lotus, I think, is the Taiwanese company, and Tesco, British, Auchan, the French. Walmart is very similar to the Walmart, but a domestic hypermarket company. So if you're looking at this one, you see how the market is changing. But if you're looking at the number of a store, Chinese companies are the major one. Vanguard, I think that this one was the Balian Group. Maybe I deleted it by accident. Okay, so I think it's better to talk with a case. Oh, before we do, just a quick review of a convenience store. I want to show just the pictures. So this is a very old traditional convenience store in the United States and convenience store in China. What you're going to see inside will be totally different. So fresh food made there. And also they provide a lot of other services, like you can pay the bill sometimes. Yeah, and it's not just a convenience store, it's really one-stop place for everything that city workers eat lunch there, breakfast there, sometimes the snacks and everything.
Even more convenient store.
Yeah, it's a very convenient store. See, this is another convenience store. Because these cuisines are very different, east, north, south, and usually convenience store is a very regional player. So only the 7-Eleven is a national player, but yeah, and it's a very regional. Okay, so let's do this Walmart Carrefour case, and then okay. So maybe anybody can summarize the different entry strategy between Walmart versus Carrefour? Yeah, Chen.
I think Carrefour in China use franchise strategy, and Walmart in China is use wholly owned strategy. And I think the difference and the advantage of franchise is it gives Carrefour the opportunity to first into China, and it can share the risk and cost with the Chinese partner, which is Lianhua company, and the advantage of Walmart to the wholly owned strategy, I think because Walmart can make the decision by its own, and even though it is very slow to expansion in China at the first beginning, but now I think in 2011, Walmart became the first international retailer in China.
Yeah, but it's really expensive to wait 10 years to become the #1 retailer, and I don't think a Carrefour strategy was bad, considering the regulation that China has that time. So that's the joint venture, or was the only way to enter the China. But also the Carrefour has the very decentralized management system. And so when they entered the Shanghai, this is a joint venture who know the government very well. So Walmart entered the Shenzhen away from the government, because do you remember Shenzhen is economic zone? So that's kind of more favorable to the foreign retailers, because so the Walmart has a distribution center for all the manufacturing goods that are made in the Shenzhen that are sold to Walmart in the other countries as well as US. So, so I think that the way they Carrefour entered China is that even though they are not doing well now, it is justifiable considering that kind of a market condition at that time. So it's easy to evaluate after everything is done, and you should do this one, that one, but at that moment that you have only you can enter the Chinese market, joint venture. Government is so influential, and that's the best decision, I guess. And also they have advantages to pick the best location, right? So Carrefour, where they have a store? I mean, the name of a Carrefour is the crossroad, right?
Yes, yes.
So intersection is really always important, and they placed their store in the major downtown area. Yeah, so when the Walmart enter later on, they do not have a space, so they entered outer ring or suburb or second tiers because the location already taken by not only the Carrefour but the other domestic players. But I think the good thing that Walmart is that they stick with their policies and be consistent and with their culture or policies. I think that's a really win situation for current status. Do you have any opinion? I don't know. That's kind of my take, but.
At that time, the Walmart into China, and actually, from my opinion, and I thought that Walmart because he's doing very well in America, so he copied a lot of American experience to China, just like the location. In America, most of American people have a car. They always buy the things maybe one time a week, or maybe 2 times a week, but not every day. And they will drive the car to buy the food or everything for the whole week. But in China, the people would like to buy it each day or each 2 days. And actually, at that time, Chinese people did not have that much cars. And even now, a lot of Chinese people didn't have the car. So the location of Walmart chose is far from the state that people live in. So people always will choose have the place to buy the things that was nearby them, or it can have some like the bus to go there. But actually, I searched some Chinese internet website. I found that at that time, a lot of Walmart stores location there was not a very convenient bus to there, so people didn't want to go there.
So when the Walmart entered the foreign countries, actually I think it's you all have to kind of keep in mind that assumptions. Then what you are doing best in this country will be replicated in the other countries. So they deploy the Walmart way of doing business in China. There's in the beginning there is no fresh food like live seafood. There was none, and so they learn and change by each time by making mistake. But it's I think too long to make too many mistakes for the Walmart, and the location is one issues. And the Carrefour that time they offer the shuttle services. So they not only place it in the downtown and also the dense area of the neighborhood, because people do not have a car, they operate the shuttle so that they pick the older people to the Carrefour, and there is a bus schedule, shuttle schedule. So it provides a really convenient shopping experience. And also, when they enter the market, they really researched local area, what they eat. So in the beginning, so when they entered the Shanghai, each store carry different merchandise. So for instance, Carrefour in the area that a lot of foreigners live, so they had a turkey, and they have almost American-like supermarket. Compared to other locations, they also tailored to their local markets. So Carrefour did a better strategy in the beginning, but because of this decentralized system has limitation. Once the size get bigger, and the decentralization doesn't work, because once, if the store manager decide what to buy, what to place, or what to, what merchandise in the shelf area, they have too much power. And also China is the Guangxi area. Guangxi is so important, and supplier relationship is important. So when the things are not used properly, it can create a lot of problems. So when as a suppliers, in order to place your merchandise in the shelf, and you have to pay extra money, which is becomes the problem for the Carrefour, that the salary and then other earning other than salary is like 100 times, which can be a problem. So they had to close the stores, and there is huge other issues. So I have another case study that we write together, and I can share with you about those kind of recent development, the ethical issues that Carrefour face, and because of this decentralization issues and the kind of intertwined with the Chinese culture, I think that creates a lot of problems. But the initial strategy, I think it's not avoidable strategy. What do you think?
I agree, it's not avoidable unless they wanted to wait, but
yeah.
I don't think they wanted to. I think they wanted to get in there and get a foothold. So.
Okay. Okay, so let's move on to so what made the Carrefour successful in China between that 10-year period? I think that's really try to understand that their local customers and that tailored to meet those needs. And what would explain the recent growth of Walmart? So Walmart is become #1 in China. It's kind of as a shoppers, have you shopped in a Walmart?
Yes.
Yeah, so what makes you become like the Walmart better than Carrefour or other hypermarkets?
I don't know for the other people, but for a lot of my friends, maybe there's some story about the garment thing. Actually, 3 or 4 years before, the French government say something not very nice to the Chinese people. So a lot of Chinese young boys, like that time, me and my friend, we are against to go to the Carrefour.
Yeah.
Because it's not because the things they show, it's just because we against the French government, so we didn't go to there. We chose Vermont, but at this time, it's already history. But at that time,
I think that actually impacted huge, and also with the Beijing Olympic, there is what is the story about this Beijing Olympic, and Dalai Lama is from the Tibet, and something story. Do you guys remember?
Yeah, because the French president Sarkozy, he supported the freedom of Tibet, the Dalai Lama. So the Chinese government against it, and so because the Carrefour, the president or the boss of Carrefour is the one who supported the Dalai Lama, and so after some Chinese young guys knows that, and we were against Carrefour, and we go to Walmart.
Yeah, so that kind of struck me a lot. It's not really something that Carrefour did wrong. It's the whole nationalism kind of against the Tibet, tension can influence the.
I think it's very common in China because it's just because of the national event. For example, a lot of Chinese people also against the Japanese company, and because of the war 60 years ago until now, Chinese people still, some Chinese people still hate the Japanese, and so sometimes if someone says, oh, we need to do this with this company, a lot of people will follow it.
Yeah, and I think
I think it also
Korea too.
Korea, yeah.
And actually, there is a commercial. I don't know, the music star from the. I just heard from somebody from the Thailand or somewhere. It's kind of he's kind of a half Korean and half Thailand, and then he did create the music video or commercial or the something, and then just the 1 second of a background was the kind of reflection of a Japanese flag. And that triggered a lot of negative comments from the people that he actually, no intention, he didn't know anything about it. It's a graphic designer to put the kind of that kind of a, and so he has to apologize to the whole nation that he didn't know the things and did it wrong. So, those things is a kind of a delicate, but also without knowing the history or the cultural background, that's the thing that you can fall into without, those intentions.
So I think it's really important when you come into China to do business, just pay attention about because in China, the country and the government is really important for our daily life. So just pay attention about that.
Yeah.
It's really important. And I think because I don't know, because in South China, Carrefour is not that popular than Walmart. Because in my hometown area, I just heard about the Walmart. And maybe why the Walmart is so successful this year, recent year, I think because the policy, the everyday low price. Because for just like for my mom or my aunts, they just want to buy the cheapest things. So I think that is really important. The strategy.
Yeah, and the Carrefour strategy on the pricing is the high-low price. So some are high and some are really low to attract the customers to the store. And high is too high, and also the low is not really accurately low. That there was a discrepancy between the price at the store and the receipt. That kind of something that do wrong can trigger word of mouth so fast in China, I think, because it's a very person related society. I think they are bonded as one country. Am I right? Yeah, and it's a very interesting that it's a kind of a mindset that Elino, when I ask about how to describe the character of a person as I don't know how to pronounce in Chinese. Yeah. And to me, I mean my interpretation of this character is a person cannot stand alone. So you need a two person to support each other. So that's kind of a relationship is so important as an even single person. So that's that's the Chinese culture, relationship and care about the person, family, your significant others, friends, and I attended the book author kind of presentation, and she wrote a Chinese entrepreneurs, a lot of Chinese companies interviews, with the CEOs, and she mentioned about this kind of doing the favor. I mean the kind of guangxi. She mentioned about the guangxi, and in the beginning, she's American, but she stayed in China for a long time, and the guangxi was in the beginning was really not easy to accept, because once you ask something, you have to return the favor somehow, right? And but I don't know, you guys, what I striked when I'm from the Korea, and there is a cultural shock here. For instance, when you guys move, usually you do yourself. You don't ask help. But my country, and even here, everybody help. And the next time you move, I help too. So this is not really, it's a kind of a relationship, but kind of I can ask the help, but also I return the things next time, which is kind of a helping each other concept. I think that's China is the same thing. And so Guangxi is the kind of a help now. So if I need help later on, they can help me. So what? Reciprocal, yeah.
I think we call that you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Yeah. So, and this book author mentioned that even though Guangxi first is a really difficult to handle, but later on, she liked it. It's kind of a human life, human. So,
is it if they ask you a favor and you say, like they ask you to move and you have work, you can't? Is it very rude? Are they offended and that's it? You're not friends anymore? Or?
I don't think so. I mean, there's you do not ask things that you don't ask things to you don't know very well. So if you explain that you cannot do because of other stuff, it is acceptable.
Indirectly to. Oh.
Okay. Okay, so what are the opportunities and challenges faced by Walmart or Carrefour in China?
Local supermarket.
Yeah.
Because we usually go to the local supermarket to buy something. And another important thing is that those local stores have a strong and close relationship with the corporations and governments. Like in my family, we often get the gift card from local stores, and we never have the gift card from Walmart and Carrefour. So
I think I heard that changed. So Walmart never do the gift card, but I don't know, either Carrefour, I don't know for sure, but because
the gift card cannot be turned into the cash, we have to buy something in that store. So and we can have everything we want to buy in the local store, so we don't need to switch to the Carrefour or Walmart. And actually those stores are more familiar with our consumption preference, and I think they know more about our habits. So I think most of residents like to go shopping there.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Chashufa then. Chashufa is the kind of perfect model that how local players can compete against the Walmart and Carrefour type of a store. Okay, so anybody can kind of summarize what was their competitive advantages? Kind of Christina, I think you did a good summary of it.
They're very family oriented, which is like very good to be in China. And like even they never take a profit over like their customers, because I know that even like they said they put all like the best products on the 3rd and 4th shelf, and they like won't change it for anything. Just like when it said that Coke was trying to put this nice display in, but they didn't want to because they didn't sell as well, so they just refused to take that.
One of the things that I think I mentioned about that one is it's more of like a co-op oriented, where they take products from other people that are in the community and put it in. So again, it goes back to the community feel. And then they also tailor their hours for the moms or people who begin up early and need the stuff throughout the day, and they fix their times to better orient towards the community that they're in.
So it's a very community oriented. So I think that's why they are winning in the market. What else do you remember about what they did?
The self brand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it's learned from the Walmart or the other restaurant industry.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important for the locals retailer to have their own brand so that they have like the much retailer power,
Mm-hmm.
so they can like to
Yeah.
get the advantage. Yes.
And the one thing that I kind of picked at this company was that this company origin is a state-owned company. And they were able to turn into this profitable and successful company. And there are many ways that you can do it with the right leadership. You know, they learn fast, but also the things that you don't know, you can hire, outsourcing the people, right? And the system technology is only played a certain portion. We're going to talk about the Best Buy case, but I interviewed with this company director in charge of putting everything, and they had everything that Best Buy has in terms of system technology, market research. They did everything, but was not be able to successful. So, you know, technology you can buy and outsource, and you can hire people who run the technology, but creating this synthesis of things for the business is tough. And yeah, so we're going to talk more about that issue. I think that also related to the culture that we learned. And here United States, very rule-oriented and a very analytical, and it's very clear. But when the different conflicts arise, or there are many processes to combine, and it becomes difficult or takes the time. It's the right way to do it. So Walmart, because they have a financial support, they can do right, but they had to wait more than 10 years to do good, right? So, but it takes a long time. Remember, it takes a long time, and the market is changing so fast. So the way that agility is more important now, flexibility is important, but keeping the culture and the policy is also the important. So you can learn from this careful Walmart case. So something will pay off if you stick to the good rules.
Yeah, and for the church farm,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the successful of that company is also he knows the Chinese culture better. And actually, from what I know, the church farm, it was every church farm store is not very big. It's just some small store, but it's always location in some places that all around it was the people who live in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't like some convenience store. So the people can go to there just by work, and all the seller in that store can know the people living there, everyone, know everyone. So everyone also want to go there to buy and discuss to them and to tell them something about it. So they kind of friends, and even sometimes they kind of the family.
Yeah, so I remember they watch out those elderly people who live themselves in an apartment, and they visit and take care of, kind of check them. It's like a family. Yeah. And also do you remember the portion that is in the picture of this PowerPoint? Oh, not here. If you open the Joshua case picture, I thought that's interesting. Not this. So do you remember yin and yang that we learned from the Eleanor? So the food has a yin food and also the yang food. So they suggest what is the food combination that will be good for you. So each person has a yin or has some kind of a characteristics. So, and some food are good for you to live longer, live healthier. So they suggest what food is good for your type of, I don't know what it's called, but type of, what kind of a type is it? Like each person can be divided by particular yin yang kind of combination. I think it's kind of fascinating, but it's a 5,000 history proof system. I think it's very strongly built in the Chinese society, culture.
It's reasonable.
What? Reasonable, yeah. They think it's reasonable for the Western medicine. It's not reasonable, but 5,000 history tells that that's reasonable. And I personally ate a lot of herbal medicine from the China too. I mean that actually, because that's kind of a developed based upon the experience of ancestors and for the 5,000 years, and so experience tells what is good. So I was when I was a really young child, I was really weak. So my mom gave a lot of really good thing that boost my immune system. So I ate a lot of Chinese medicine, herbal medicine stuff. So after that, I don't get any cold. So I don't get sick at all. So although my sister told me that because you ate too much good stuff when you're young.
Yes, the principle of the Chinese medicine and the healthy instruction is that keep your body balanced.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so balance is a really important concept, value in China. Okay, great. I enjoyed the class today in the discussion. So next Tuesday, we're gonna do entry strategy and a little bit of supply chain management stuff. So I'll put the very long PowerPoint. You just scan things, okay? Okay, good. So have a wonderful weekend.